Facebook is a social media website that allows people from all around the world to connect seamlessly. Using methods of sharing like posting images and videos, commenting, texting, and video calls. The simple design of the website attracts all audiences as it is so easy to create an account and begin socializing. With currently 2.2 billion accounts created, it is needless to say that they are good at bringing people together. But over the years, Facebook has become a dangerous place to be on as they do not take the issues of privacy and security seriously. During the years, the website has become less of a socializing service and more of a means for advertisers and political influencers to collect data and post fake news. Recently, Facebook was exposed for stealing user data and selling it to third-party websites. The problem here being that millions of users' personal information was being captured for work like advertising and supposedly affecting the 2016 presidential elections in the US. Facebook contributes notoriously to these problems by keeping people's data vulnerable to data-hungry companies that use it for malicious purposes. Due to these problems, it is extremely hard to have privacy on the internet, especially when one uses Facebook. The problem blew up in mid-March when Facebook came out about a data breach. A company by the name of Cambridge Analytica was exposed on using millions of users' data without their permission. An estimate given by Mark Zuckerberg said that 270,000 people were affected, but further research showed that around 87 million people were affected. Initially, Facebook denied the claims of stolen user data, but then came out in mid-March 2018, confirming revelations from the New York Times and The Guardian about the stolen data. Now, what exactly is Cambridge Analytica? Cambridge Analytica is a political consulting firm based in London that mines data for their clients to sway election campaigns in their favor by advertising. Their services were used for presidential campaigns of Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, as well as 44 other campaigns. A professor from Cambridge University by the name of Alexander Kogan created a personality app on Facebook's platform that served as a means to collect user data without their knowledge. In June 2014, Cambridge Analytica signed a contract with Kogan's company, agreeing to receive and use this information for their clients' needs. In December 2015, Facebook identified that the data was being misused by Kogan and Cambridge Analytica, and this in fact broke Facebook's rules and regulations of user privacy. Zuckerberg responded swiftly by banning Kogan's app and demanding that Cambridge Analytica delete all their improperly acquired data. But the data was never deleted and rather misused in the 2016 elections. Although Zuckerberg banned the app from Facebook, it had already done its damage by collecting the user data. In 2016, news came out about the breach affecting the elections using fake news and propaganda. Zuckerberg denied these claims and said that the idea of fake news on Facebook's platform affecting the elections is quote-unquote a pretty crazy idea. He said that people are instead trying to find a narrative to explain the election's outcome, as well as insisting that Trump's posts got a lot more engagement rather than any manipulation from fake news. These problems led to Zuckerberg being summoned to a court hearing to explain why the data of 87 million users ended up in the hands of Cambridge Analytica. In his testimony before Congress, he apologizes for the data breach, saying that it was his personal mistake. He also pledged to change Facebook's privacy policies and decided to implement EU's General Data Protection Regulation. I believe that certain steps that Facebook has taken has already started to improve their website and the privacy issues. For instance, in 2015, in response to the data breaches, Zuckerberg shut down the Friends API, our application program interface, that allowed apps to harvest user data from the current user's friends list. This allowed more privacy for the user's personal information, but this solved only one tiny bit of a huge portion of problems. Facebook could potentially solve these issues and regain their users' trust if done correctly. Its access to private lives of almost 2 billion people and its machine learning capabilities makes the platform extremely vulnerable to criminals who want to steal private data or use it for propaganda. A few rules that, when enforced, would solve these problems. They should make a rule to stop sharing personal information and political and religious beliefs to third-party apps or websites. This would make it tougher to have malicious advertisers fool people with fake news. They should stop broadcasting every move that the user makes. For example, stop sharing data about a user's likes, posts, or comments to the news feeds, as well as third-party sites. They should also create a better screening test before allowing different apps to be used on the website. This would mean that ad companies would have to identify themselves as political ad buyers. This would include confirming their identities, locations, government IDs, and disclosing the client they represent. Now, as I see these issues, I realize that Facebook has to come up with an incredible amount of solutions to fix them, which would take tons of work by programmers and software engineers to implement new rules, which in turn would also take time to work properly. Instead of waiting for Facebook to get their act together, I figured out that the most effective, cost-free simple solution is in the hands of the users, and that solution is to delete their accounts. Now, although it may not be possible to wipe off all the digital footprints that were left on the site, it is still a big step to getting your personal information away from the eyes of the public. In fact, this very solution was brought to life under the hashtag called #DeleteFacebook. It started trending on Twitter in 2016 after the Cambridge Analytica data scandal was exposed. It got Zuckerberg's attention as it got really popular, and even some celebrities started deleting their accounts. The conflict with this solution is that you would not be able to connect with your friends or family anymore, but I believe it is a pretty small price to pay for keeping your information private. In addition, Facebook isn't the only way to connect with people. Nowadays, we have tons of different apps like Snapchat, WhatsApp, or even Instagram to connect with people in the same manner, without having any privacy issues. In general, their issues would be solved with more implementations, which are currently being forced upon them by the government. There is one thing that Facebook needs to use as its motto to solve them, that the user's information is the user's and no one else. The constant misuse of user data has led to these various problems. After the testimony in court, Zuckerberg also mentioned that he was going to expand their fact-checking efforts in order to stop the spread of fake news, but it is not certain if he has enforced these rules yet. He also said that the company is going to double their security team and improve upon ad transparency. Although this would not solve the problem right away, it is definitely a start to a long process of fixing the company. Facebook is an incredible socializing app created by a man that revolutionized the digital world. Currently having 2.2 billion members, they must take all the right steps to ensure the protection of each individual's right to privacy.